to post the same thing on Blue Sky just to let people know I'm streaming. Because YouTube notifications are terrible. Okay. Done. Now let's check. Let's check how this is going. We should refresh the chat. There we go. And now let's make sure that... Why is everything hard? Here we go. Let's make sure that oh, look, it doesn't look like we've actually worked. Yeah, it looks like this one got screwed up. Can we delete this one? Let's delete this forever. I don't know how to handle this. Oh well. I kind of screwed up something here. Okay, so Twitch is working as always. That's good. Hello, Twitch. YouTube is working. Good. We're there. I kind of screwed up and I kind of tried to like schedule on YouTube, but it didn't work. Oh wow. Bonsoir. Hello, Findus. Hello, Exodicas. Did you end up choosing a language? Can I just call you Exo or more Dicas? Exo is going to make, was it a Game Boy emulator using one of the cool languages? I think that's such a great idea. Alright, we're going to do more TypeScript. I think once we finish all of these sections, then we're going to, I'll just like kind of combine all the lives into one video and just be like, here's me learning TypeScript. Enjoy. But I'll cut off all this stuff, hopefully. It's still going to be long as hell. I think I have like 6 to 10 hours so far of just like futzing around with TypeScript. That's the one thing when you stream, like you know exactly how much time you're spending on things. So that's quite a while learning TypeScript. I was trying to start with Crystal, but my Lunar Vim setup does not give me syntax highlighting. Oh no. Crystal seems really cool. I was really excited about it, but then all the other languages came out around then. You know, like Gleam was coming out and Rust was becoming like bigger. So like I feel like Crystal kind of ended up being a little bit, it still has a pretty big following, I think, you know, for a small language, but feels like some of the steam was taken away. But definitely want to look at it. Good luck. I think hello. um I forgot what I was going to say. So let's just get started. So let's find out where we were before. All right. I don't know why we're looking at this page. We were probably here. So we've done a bunch of... What can I do with chat? feel like it should go here. This should maybe go here, but then make this smaller. But then you guys will be like, oh, this sucks. I think that's better. Just need something that goes on the top right here. Maybe we just make chat bigger.
Ouais, j'ai entendu. Putain, mais c'est bien.
Is it 500, 600? Yeah, that's good enough. 650 maybe.
Wow. J'avais pas vu que j'avais plein de...
There we go. I really like Ruby syntax. That's why I got into Elixir at some point. So maybe Crystal is the one I'll stick with for a while after my editor stops being a jerk. Yeah, I don't know. I assume Crystal has a pretty decent language server. But I do love Elixir syntax, right? Like Haskell and Elixir for me are really clean. Like the way they look are so clean. I love it. This stuff where they make you like all this kind of crud around it drives me crazy. Alright, where were we last time? We were doing like, let me just go up a little bit here. We definitely did optional parameters, right? I think I have my playground here, right? So I did a, this looks like I was doing some kind of generic function. Function overloads. Function counts, date. Oh right, I remember this. This was cool. I don't think I ended up writing anything for this, did I? I think we read this, but I never wrote it. So we should probably write some function overloads. What's a good example of a function overload? Oh wait, here goes a function overload. Looks like I wrote one. What is this? Function x. Function x that takes in a string, returns a string. Takes in a number, returns a boolean. So now, right, so we just never really exercised this, right? So I guess we want to say something like if x type of, in this case it's either string or number, so we can make a switch statement. Case type of x. No, it's called switch. Type of x, and then we do case, and we can say
Non, non, c'est pays pour information.
String. Oh, it's probably colon, right? And so what should this thing do? If it's a string,
Non, j'arrête pas de le refaire sur le fichier.
it'll turn it to
J'arrive pas à les compter, c'est terrible.
a number.
C'est terrible.
I guess we'll just do something stupid like we'll lowercase it.
Ça, mais je vois rien, et puis comme je fais toujours ça dans le métro, bah en fait, j'arrive pas à...
To lowercase.
Ouais, c'est ça.
And if it is, we can actually say return, and then we don't need the break, right? And then we can have string number. You guys can correct me if I'm doing something wrong here. And we'll basically do return x is less than 10, right? So it's basically is small or something silly like that. And default, can't remember how you say throw, new, error, impossible, right? Okay. So now we can do function, pass in a string, like help me.
Je me sens, c'est vrai que je me suis sentie
Is the sound in the
euh,
background too loud? Let me
appelée,
know.
mais non.
Okay, so we're doing function overloading here. We're going to test out if we know what we're actually doing. Run. So it says help me in lowercase. And if I pass in
Tout
a
à
number
fait.
instead, if it's number 1, it'll say true because it's smaller. True.
Oui.
And if it's
Oh,
number 11, it'll say false. There we go. So I think we can say that this we figured out. Function overloads. Here we go. Oh, we even wrote something.
plus. Ouais, 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 ouais.
Yeah, this is a much better example. I should have looked at this, right? It's
Waouh.
actually not a great example. Like we're using any here. This should be. Isn't this a bad example? Let's kind of look at this one a little bit.
Tout est aussi
I don't know
facile.
why we wrote it this way. So we have a length function. It can take in a string or an array of any type,
Celui-là.
and it's going to return a number.
Ah, ouais.
So now, because we wanted to basically make it work with either any array or string, we have this which takes in it all, right? So now we can do console.log len,
Oh non, bah, on va faire ça. Oh, 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 oh.
and we're going to pass it an array
Ok.
here, right? I hope it's calling this function here. Here, we'll make sure it's calling our function because we'll add 100 to it so we know it's calling our function. Great, so it returns 103, right? And we have no errors, so that's good. But I would assume here that because this takes any, maybe it's not a problem. Like I was thinking now if I pass in a number, is it a problem? Oh no, it does check for this. Overload of one string number gave the following error. Number is not assignable to string. And the second one, it says number is not assignable to any. So it's basically saying this can't match this or that. It's just that this is kind of bad though, right? Because this is any now. So can't I just do something like this and my code wouldn't know any better? You see what I mean? Because it's like x is just anything. Like this has no error. 1, 2, 3, 100. That's not what we expect, right? What I was wondering is if I could instead pass in a type and then say it is either an array of this type or a string. Oh, the single or. And now you see this one says it doesn't work. But if I say okay, so now when I try running it, it works. 103 here, you see. And also if I pass in a string, this one works too. So doesn't this look better to you? Because now at least it's going to limit, like our code's going to be type checked in this function. Hello, Mau. So I think this is a better example. Um, yeah, I think this is a better example. So we're gonna edit what we wrote as function overload here and fix this. There we go. I like this better. For the reasons that we talked about. If any of that was unclear to anybody,
Ok.
please let me know.
On va se
How you
reconnecter.
doing, Mao?
Je sauvegarde. Oh putain, il est revenu, salaud. Aïe.
All right, I can pop out this thing. 1 second. I did this last time.
Ok. On va faire ça.
Close chat, online, share chat, open in a new window. There we go. Perfect. So we'll do it like this. All right. Been a long time since I watched one of your streams. Yeah, when was the last time? We're doing TypeScript right now. What stream was it? Do you remember? Were we doing like assembly programming or Rust or Haskell? Who knows? It's crazy. I just have this, oh, I should get rid of this 100 here because we don't care about that. I just have this, job that I'm doing that uses TypeScript, so I need to learn it. So that's what I'm doing, and we are about halfway there. We went through all the easy stuff, and now we're doing like function overloads and stuff like that.
Moi, mon volume de soundboard,
I think we did all this already. Just trying to find where I left off.
Ouais, le mien, il est à 30%.
I think it was in December. Oh my god, was it December or oh god.
Non, c'est un
Yeah,
peu
Atari
ça.
Assembly. I love it. I need to go back to that because we didn't finish. But you know, this is a paying job, so there's that. You know what else is really cool? I think this job that I have is writing open source code. So I think this will be the first time I'll ever be able to like basically stream my work. Wouldn't that be cool? Like it may be boring for you guys, but like oh shit, if I stream my work and my employer sees me streaming, it's not so much there's confidentiality problem, but like they might be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe she writes such like bad code and is so slow." Can you imagine like it's like basically if your boss could see you live cam the whole time, right? Thank you. Yeah, the YouTubes and Twitch don't pay me much. Yeah, but you know, that doesn't stop us. We're just gonna try. I'm gonna ask them if I could stream and hopefully they don't mind. All right, let's keep going. We gotta keep learning this TypeScript stuff. Here's the lens stuff. Yeah, this is the one I just did, right? You notice how it says X any that's just not cool. I feel like our solution's
Ah, moi, je l'avais
better.
fait
Oh, look, they
rapidement
fixed
parce
it.
que j'ai également
Because
fait
both
ça
overloads and the same
avec les
argument count
environnements.
and the same have the same argument count and same return type, we can instead write a non-overloaded version of the code. All right, so they just made it like a single function.
Ah, attends, ouais, lui, voilà, t'as raison.
It's better to use union types. All right, makes sense.
Un pare-choc.
That just means like if you have the same arity is usually what at least what I call it in Elixir, the same number of parameters, then just use unions instead of using function overload. I guess because it's easier to read this line than reading this twice in two separate lines. Alright, so now we're going to do declaring this in a function. I definitely did not learn this, no pun intended. So let's see what's going on. My girlfriend's playing Final Fantasy. It makes me want to play. Actually, I want to play that Tales Ales Tavern game.
Ah oui, faut qu'on finisse. Enfin, faut qu'on finisse, faut qu'on continue. Parti. Aïe aïe, les
Yeah,
épreuves
hello,
régulières.
PeerTube. I don't know how to get you
Ça
into
arrivera, je sais pas quoi.
the
Je sais
chat
pas, il
with
faut que je.
everyone else, but PeerTube does have live
Non,
streaming.
faut que je décharge
I can
la
see your
date.
chat. Someone's joining me from PeerTube. If you guys never
Je sais
seen
pas pourquoi
PeerTube before, you can like look at my bio link and there'll be a PeerTube link and I stream there too. Which Final Fantasy? Number 14? What did I miss? Yeah, it's a recommendation to limit the use of any in TypeScript. Otherwise, you lose the advantage of TypeScript over plain old JavaScript. Exactly, right? So when they did that, it's just kind of bad. So I do like this better. However, like they said, you don't really need this, right? Like you're returning the same number all the time, so you could just put number here and you can just get rid of these two. There's no point over here for those. It's not serving you anything.
Ah, moi cette série
Final
de
Fantasy
faire
1. One day maybe I will like actually
absolument
go
impersonnel.
through all the
Mais
Final
non,
Fantasy. I
c'est
had a
c'est bon
friend
là.
who did it and he said that like believe it or not, like they age pretty well. I have a really hard time believing that like if I got Final Fantasy 1 that I would enjoy it. But who knows? Maybe. I want to get like I think there's something called like a Mr. FPGA emulator. Yeah, this one. This is what I want to get. It's an open source project that emulates consoles via FPGA. And so like you get this thing, you kind of put it together and it'll run like where does it tell you what it'll run? Basically all the different like um
Je fais du.
doesn't tell you what it runs.
Euh,
Ah, here it is. Super
implémentation.
Nintendo, Sega Genesis, NES, Sega
Non,
Master,
je
Saturn, N64, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Gear, GameCube,
pas très.
Dreamcast, Wii, Atari, Jaguar. Damn, this would be fun to have. I know I can like run it on my computer, I guess, but it's just cool that like it's an FPGA based implementation, so all the kind of circuitry as I understand it is
Ouais,
like
il faut se poser.
actually running.
C'est vraiment plus. Enfin, je. Oui.
3D version. Oh yeah, they did a remaster, right? Okay, guys, we got it. We got to stay on target here. You're here to help me stay on target. All right. TypeScript will infer what this should be in a function via code flow analysis. For example, in the following, const user. So we have a const variable. It's a user, and the parentheses means I'm new to JavaScript. So when I say this out loud, it's not because I think you don't necessarily know this. I'm kind of telling myself also. This is an object with these properties. ID, admin, false, become admin is a function, takes in no parameters, and it says this admin equals true. Oh. TypeScript understands that the function user become admin has a corresponding this, which is the outer object user. This, can, real funny guys, can be enough for a lot of use, a lot of cases, but there are a lot of cases where you need more control over what object this represents. The JavaScript specification states that you cannot have a parameter called this. Okay, we don't pass around this. And so TypeScript uses that syntax space to let you declare the type for this in the function body. Let's see. So we have an interface, which is like a type, db, filter users. What am I looking at here? There's a function that has a parameter called filter, and the parameter filter is a function that takes a user, which is this, I guess whatever implements the type, and returns a boolean. And filter users returns an array of users. Okay, got it. So if that was unclear, please let me know. Oh yeah, we use FPGA in trading in finance at one of my jobs. Oh really? Is it just because it's faster? Why would you use an FPGA instead of like a phone or something? Secret stuff? I don't. So weird.
C'est toujours là.
Um.
C'est the possibility.
All right. Const db equals get db. So we have a value db that doesn't change, that returns the database. So I don't know why it thinks
Pardon, il se passe vraiment.
get db returns a db. Kind of weird. Const admins equals db.filter users. So it's calling this function. Function this users return this dot admin. Okay, what's going on here? db.filters users is this filter users. We're passing in a function. Yeah, so we're defining this filter now. It's just that they're using the other syntax for passing in a function, the one I don't prefer. This user return this dot admin. Alright, let's see. Usually when you actually run this, there's separate stuff here. Yeah, you see like here is a user, has an ID and an admin. Maybe it infers that getDB has to return a DB otherwise. I think it's like they have hidden code like this that they don't show in their actual like example. They only show this part. So I don't know why they do that. But I don't think the types system is that advanced in TypeScript, or is it? I think it is pretty advanced. It seems pretty advanced. But the inference is not always good, I noticed. So let's see. Declare. I have not learned declare, so I don't know what this is. Const db, this is get db. So here's the function, doesn't return, it returns. Jesus Christ, what is this? What is this declare? Is it? I think this is saying like this is a function, but I'm not going to give you the implementation. Is that what that means? So getDB is going to return something of type DB, and this is the type DB, so it's going to return something that you can call filter users on. So that's why you can do db.filterUsers. And in here, interface filter users is the same thing. It just means, yeah. So someone has to define this filter users command, but we don't have access to it here. We don't see it here. So we just go and call filter users function this user. So this is referring to return this dot admin. So I guess it's saying that
C'est ce que tu crois.
the this in the user is going to refer to a user object. I guess. Let's go back and let's see what they say. This pattern is common with callback style APIs where another object typically controls when your function is called. Note that you need to use function and not arrow functions to get this behavior. Oh. See, that's what I was confused about. I didn't understand, like, when they did this, I wanted to do this. But it's saying you can't do this. Note that you need to use function and not arrow functions to get this behavior. The containing arrow function captures the global value of this. Element implicitly has an any type because type of global this has no signature index. I see. So this is a capture. So it's gonna grab the stuff the stuff around it, I guess. So we can't use that. Alright, that makes sense. This is, I see, when it does this, it's going to grab the global this. Alright, I'm not sure I really understand what they're doing here. Because like you saw, they were doing like declares and stuff, so we're gonna have to come back to this later. Let's see, can I infer anything more? Here's my question. So DB, I understand this. Do I understand the this here? Is it just basically saying this has to be a user? Too bad we can't really see this working. I think it'll become clearer later. Other types to know about. There are some additional types you'll want to recognize that appear often when working with function types. Like all types, you can use them everywhere, but these are especially relevant in the context of functions. Void. Void represents the return value of functions which don't return a value. Well, that's not really a type. It's the inferred type anytime a function doesn't have any return statements or doesn't return any explicit value from those return statements. Okay, so this is a void function. In JavaScript, a function that doesn't return any value will implicitly return the value undefined. However, void and undefined are not the same thing in TypeScript. There are further details at the end of this chapter. Void is not the same as undefined. This is just stuff that's annoying me because doesn't it? It says functions which don't return a value because it has no return statements or doesn't return any value. So it either doesn't have return statements or it returns, like, just calls return. A function that doesn't return any value will implicitly return the value undefined. Aren't these contradictory? Object. The special type object refers to any value that isn't a primitive. This is different from the empty object type and also different from the global type object. It's very likely you will never use object. Okay. Object is not object. Always use object. Always use it unless you really need to use the other one. But if you need to use the other one, you'll know. Note that in JavaScript, function values are objects. They have properties. They have object.prototype in their prototype chain. Are instance of object.
Oui,
You can
ouais,
call object
mais
keys on them, and so on. For this reason, function types are considered to be objects in TypeScript.
bon, sans façon du coup.
Unknown. Oh, I never heard of unknown. The unknown type represents any value. This is similar to the any type, but is safer because it's not illegal to do anything with an unknown value. Okay, so you can't actually use an unknown value. Let's put that on our types thing here. Unknown, like any, except you can't actually use it. This is useful when describing function types because you can describe a function that accepts any value without having any values in your function body. Conversely, you can describe a function that returns a value of unknown type. Safe parse obj. Okay. Never some functions never return a value. The never type represents values which are never observed. In a return type, this means that the function throws an exception or terminates execution of the program. Never also appears when TypeScript determines there's nothing left in a union. That's where we saw, yeah, here's a never because we narrowed it to string number. There's nothing else, so this is never type. The global type function describes properties like bind, call, apply, and others present on all function values on all function values in JavaScript. It also has the special property that values of type function can always be called. These calls return any. Huh. Okay. This is an untyped function call and is generally best avoided because of the unsafe any return type. I will ignore this and hopefully I don't need to use this. It's probably going to be in like legacy code or something like that. So if you need to accept an arbitrary function but don't intend to call it, the type void return type is generally safer. REST parameters and arguments. Oh, we're getting close to the end here. Still don't really understand this thing. Hopefully, maybe we should look up this somewhere else. Or maybe we can play with it. We'll go back to it. Oh, there's background reading. I wonder if there was background reading for this. Nope. REST parameters. In addition to using optional parameters or overloads to make functions that can accept a variety of fixed argument counts, we can also define functions that take an unbounded number of arguments using REST parameters. Oh, I thought REST meant like restful state. What does REST stand for? Interview question. What does REST stand for? Representational state transfer. Alright. Representational state transfer. That is the answer. Reevaluate print loop. That's REPL. We love our
Ouais.
REPLs. Honestly, like working with a language that doesn't have is hard. Especially like you have a program that's running like a server and then you can just like connect to the REPL or like the state
Faut le mettre au milieu,
and then just like
plus ou moins.
execute stuff. Like that's just so cool. I love it.
Oups.
All right, so
Attendez.
looks like it appears after all parameters and uses the dot 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 syntax. So we have here, and it's always looks like it's going to be an array.
Ah, mais j'ai rien collé, donc j'ai rien chopé du tout. Je suis au max déjà. Ouais, ouais, bah. Ouais, c'est ça. Et. Ah là, du coup. Ouais!
So here we have a function
Ok,
called
tu m'as manqué quelque
multiply.
chose.
It takes in a number, and it takes in
pas.
basically a vector, right?
Ah, on s'amuse bien, hein.
And so it's going to map m, which is the vector, and multiply each element of
Oh, il me l'a
m.
rendu, il est pas
We'll
drôle.
call the single element x, and do n times x. So if we multiply 10, then this will return 10, 20, 30, 40. Let us try to write that just to make sure we know what the hell we're talking about. So this is, what do we call this? Rest parameters.
Allez, GG, thanks, bye.
And we're going to have a function. So we do like function multiply. Am I overriding something that's called multiply already? And it takes in a number. And it takes in a vector, which is an array of numbers. Yeah, we can practice our different nomenclature. And it should return an array of numbers. And we can even mix it up. Oh crap, that doesn't work. Oh yeah, it's just not happy we haven't returned anything yet. And so we're going to map our array. We're going to map it with a function that takes the element and returns element times they multiplied by 10, right? And I guess we return this. I think this is right. And then we can just multiply something. Oh, we did 10. I'm just being silly here. We have to multiply by the number. We're not hard coding the number, right? Oh, what am I doing? It needs to be an array. So v is not, we need to go like this. Yeah, look, if it was an array, this works too. Like we could just do this, and then we do multiply by 2, and we pass an array 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we can log this. There's no errors. We run this, and why are we getting this? Let's get rid of this. There we go. So it does the 1, 2, 3, 4 becomes 2, 4, 6, 8. But we don't want to pass an array. We just want to pass optional extra parameters. So we just get rid of this. And then we do this. And now we're passing 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, not an array. We clear this up. Let's add another number just so that we know we're not like running old code. And now you see
Yeah.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10. All right. So we'll call this rest parameters. We'll save this in our function. In our document, we'll just call it, I think it's called rest parameters. Rest parameters and arguments. All right. There we go. I think we learned this. This one seems to make sense. In TypeScript, the type annotation on these parameters is implicitly any instead of any. So if you don't say anything here, this will become any bracket bracket. And any type annotation given must be of the form array or t bracket bracket, which we did. So I guess we can take in anything here. So if I had a big int here, right? What was it called, big int?
Oh, ouais. Ouais. Bien.
Big int. Okay, so I can do with an n at the end. So if I can say let n is equal to 100n, ES 2020. Alright, instead of changing it, I'll just do this. Oh wow, okay.
Oups. Je t'ai pas assis sur le teco. Oh, ça fait longtemps, hein.
There we go. So now it's fine. Now let's see if I pass in n, it says argument of type big int is not assignable to parameter of type number. Let me see if I can basically pass in a t here, and we want to say extends number. Is there a way for us to do an or here? Extends number or big int. So we do t here. And then we have an array of t's. And we return an array of t's here.
Alors. Ah non, c'est pas celui-là.
Must be an enum type. Let's see here. I'm guessing the problem here, Siomao, guessing the problem here is that this array needs to be a single type. How do we do this last time? Oh, I don't have extends in here. La 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 la. Where was it? Everyday types, you think? Not here. Not here. No extends here. Weird. Extends. Interface extends, comma. That's after us. So where do we read about extends last time? I should have written it down. It must have been part of generic functions, so it would be here under generic functions. Inference. Constraints. Here we go. Type extends, and we gave it like an object.
Je fais la même tête que toi.
I see. If you, however, you could manually specify type. You just pass this or that. I see. Func extends arg type. Oh, this is so cool. I forgot about this. String extends string. So I think what I want to do here is just say but then if I don't give it a name, then I can't use it again and again, right? Like, how did they do it here? They had generic functions, and they said you can pass it. Where was it? Here.
Il est où mon copain? Je le vois pas. Il est où? Il est où? Il est là. Ok. J'ai un peu paniqué. Non, non, c'est moi qui étais pas beau.
If you could manually specify type.
Oui.
Oh, I see, because over here when you define function it says type here.
Ouais, c'est un peu ça. Je pense que je vais péter. Ouf. Ouais, t'as le temps de bouger un petit peu quand même. Dans son dos.
So we can say T here. Say number is T, array is T, this is T. Array T return. Here's multiply. Let's just put this in a thing here first. And we will just do multiply, and we'll here in multiply we say it is either a number or a big int. There we go. And we say let result is equal to this. But it's still not happy. Number is not assignable to T. Type number is not assignable to type T. T could not be instantiated with arbitrary type. Oh, it's so hard to read these things. So if I just say number here, and I just pass in the number 10 here, does this work?
Voilà, vas-y.
Just don't know how to make this work. Type num big int. So if we say this is a num big int, can I do this? Left-hand side of arithmetic operation must be of type number big int or an enum type. Map E. Alright, let's make this a lot simpler because we don't need to do this. We're just trying to make a very simple function here that just like adds two of these types of numbers, because that's kind of the thing, right? So I do let result is equal to 100n plus 3 console.log result, and we get rid of this stuff. Okay, so it's not happy with this cannot be applied plus, so you can't so I'm guessing it needs to be like upgraded to a big int is the way this works, and then it works, right? Okay. So now if I take a function that says add num big int, and we take in an a, an x, that is a num big int, and we take a y, that is a num big int, and we return a num big int, then we just do like if let x big int is equal to type of x is equal to a number. If it's equal to a number, then we're going to return help. I just fell down a rabbit hole and I never thought I would, and I'm reading through F# stuff. F# is cool, but F# is basically OCaml but in Microsoft.NET, right? So you already know OCaml is my understanding, so it should kind of be the same. If it's a number, then we're going to cast it as big int x. Otherwise, we can just return x. Let y big int is equal to type of y. Why am I doing this? Don't ask. I just want to understand. Now I can do x plus y, right? No! Oh, why am I? Why I'm adding the wrong things.
J'ai un ami qui se fait ghoster, il comprend pas trop pourquoi.
How do you add two big ints?
Bon, j'ai pas trop le détail parce qu'il m'en dépasse pas non plus, mais après, je sais plus parler, donc il est un peu perdu. Sauf que, bah, moi je les connais pas ces gens-là. Donc, enfin, je veux dire, je la
The
connais pas
fuck?
peut-être, je sais pas la relation, et puis il me demandait
Hey
pourquoi
Blocks
ça
Hub
arrivait
Roblox,
là,
how do
etc.
you add
Mais
two big ints?
puis,
Okay, have
ah,
different
en fait,
behavior like
je
plus, providing functionality, la 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 la.
question.
No immediate down leveling support.
Compliqué,
What
quoi.
does that mean? I want to just add plus.
Non, bah après, on juge tous, hein. Y a pas. Mais comment dire, c'est juste. Non, c'est juste que je. Enfin, j'essaie de me faire un avis avec le peu d'informations qu'il me donne, quoi. Et c'est hyper vague. Et puis il me demande, il me dit qu'il comprend
Add.
pas, mais.
Bigint.add, is that how I access that?
Je connais pas la fiche, donc en
No.
fait,
How do I
c'est
access
moi,
this?
ma façon de voir les choses,
Maybe here?
c'est ma façon de réagir
Don't know
qui
how this
fait que
works.
toutes les filles réagissent pas de la même façon, quoi.
Nope, that's not it. Maybe it's just global.
Ouais, j'ai l'impression qu'il a du mal à lâcher l'affaire.
Nope. How do I do this? How do I access this? Big int interfaces function. So doesn't this mean I should be able to call add? Come on. Don't make my life hard. How do I call? View get view big int. Where do you? I just want to add numbers.
Mais il va venir ce moment aussi. Enfin, tout sauf Fulda, hein, j'ai l'impression, non? Je dis toutes les zones sauf Fulda.
Oh god.
Puis je garde aussi sympa. Donc il faut. Enfin, faut être dans la vibe, quoi. C'est pas ma vibe. Clairement pas ma vibe. Ah bah il voulait.
It says I should just be able to use the
Tout le monde veut
plus
aller à Kougane, c'est
symbol.
ça le problème. Tout le monde veut aller à Kougane, c'est un peu
Here,
ça
let
le
me.
problème. Sauf peut-être les japonais.
So I should just be able to do.
Ouais, je me demande si genre Kougane c'est aussi privé genre que ça allait
Well, let's not return it yet. We just have like
en dehors.
some big int. Okay, why is it not happy? Plus cannot be applied to big int and big int. I thought it could be. I thought you can do like let sum is equal to big int 100 plus big int 200. No? Look, this oh no, what does it say? Just says it's never used. Okay, this works, but this doesn't work. How come? I still am sick. I'm TypeScript and I have a big int type, but no operators defined. No, like, seriously, I'm going crazy here. Why? It obviously has plus. It's fine with this, but I have a big int here. If it's a number, then make it into a big int. Otherwise, this is a big int, right? So this is a big int. So we get rid of this line and we just say let sum is equal to x big int plus y big int. Plus cannot be applied to types big int and big int.
Je sais plus où j'en suis. Je suis tellement mauvaise dans les mini-jeux que.
This says it's a big int. This says it's a big int.
Ah non. Ah si. Ok, c'est bon. Ok.
I swear to God, I'm just gonna give up on this. I don't care. Let's not get too stuck on the stupidity of big ints. I'll just assume big ints suck. It said caveat. Big int support is available for the ES Next target. Wait, what? Maybe it's my target. Hold on. Let's try this. Nope. Still busted. What if I just do this? Yeah, I have to narrow it. Oh well. Yeah, let's just this is lost. We failed. We failed this one. Let's move on. It really doesn't matter. We did write something for our rest parameters here, right? Yeah, we did rest here. We're good. It's good enough. Rest arguments. Here we are. Conversely, you can provide a variable number of arguments from an iterable object, for example, an array, using the spread syntax. For example, the push method of an array takes any number of arguments. Okay. What's going on here? We can provide a variable number of arguments from an iterable object. Oh, this means that it'll take in a iterable object if it's like the only thing. Okay, let's try that out. We'll make a sum function that takes in an array of numbers. And so here, do we just say number? No, we probably do number like this, right? No. Maybe we just do this. Let's see. Oh, they don't tell us. Yeah, probably we do this. And now we can do let's try. We've never called reduce yet, so let's make it a simple version. Make sure we know how reduce works, right? So we'll just do nums, and it's a array of numbers. Num reduce, which basically is going to have an accumulator and a function, right? So let's see how TypeScript callback, which takes previous, current, previous value, current index, array, up to 4. The reduce method calls the callback function one time for each element in the array, calls the callback function for all of the elements in the array. The return value of the function is the accumulated result and is provided as an argument in the next call to the where's the accumulated result? Probably the current value? Well, we'll see it when we use it, right? So we pass in a function
Merde, je suis bête.
that takes in a previous value. We'll just call it previous value. Previous val. And this is a number. Then we take current val. This is a number. We don't care about the index or the array. We'll assume that the previous value is the accumulator. Current value is the number we're at. Right. So this is the accumulator, I think. So what we do is we just do accumulator plus current value. That's what we return. And then we return this. Right? So then we do console.log my sum, and we pass in, let's pass in this. It should be 3. Because it's going to add 3. There we go, 3. Now let's make sure that works with something a little more complicated. Six. 3 plus 3 is 6. Alright. The only time you need big ints is in advent of code puzzles anyway. Really? You shouldn't even really need it for that, right? Well, maybe you do. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how big their numbers are. Right, but one type for no double precision 64-bit binary. Alright, so it's always a floating point number. Yeah, that's not ideal then. Alright, so we have reduce here, and now what we wanted to do was turn this into this format. And then we can get rid of this, right? Huh? That didn't look right. Let's look at what they say. Push ... array. Oh, that's where it's in the calling of it. It's in the calling of it. I think this is what they mean. And so if I have must either have a tuple type or be passed to a rest parameter. Okay, so this needs to be a rest parameter. How'd that look again? ... v. Right? Yeah.
Ah ouais.
So here we go. And so basically I could call this with my normal 1, 2, 3, and this will be 6, right?
Merci. Pourquoi pas?
No?
Il y a bien Oshi, alors pourquoi pas me choisir?
No. I can call with my normal non-array 1, 2, 3, and this will run and say 6. Or it's saying that I can simply I can also pass in an array, and this will also work. 6. So I see. So here's the full example of testing it. We show both ways. This should probably come in second. We call my sum with variable number of rest arguments. Call my sum with an enumerable. But notice we prefix it with dot dot dot. Right? So we get 2 6s here. Run 6 6. That looks good. Let's put that in here and we'll call it. We'll just put it at the end of the rest parameters here. Okay. So we have that here. We have an example of passing an enumerable here. I'm glad I tried that out because obviously I got confused. I was thinking that the dot 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 was part of the type declaration and it's not. Anyway, note that in general, TypeScript does not assume that arrays are immutable. This can lead to some surprising behaviors. Inferred type is number array, an array with 0 or more numbers, not specifically 2 numbers. I see. It doesn't know the length. So you can't always, if you pass an enumerable, it's always going to assume it is a full-on as just an array of any length, not a specific one. So if the function you're passing it takes 2 numbers, then it won't work. I wonder how you do tuples in JavaScript though. What? What's going on? So tuples are basically arrays? Alright, we won't worry about this now. Best fix for this situation depends a bit on your code, but in general, a const context is the most straightforward solution. I see. When you make a const, now it knows that it is a 2-length tuple and you can pass it along. That is a good trick. I will not note it. I will just run into this one day and I will scream at JavaScript and then I will remember. Parameter destructuring. Oh, is this pattern matching? You can use parameter destructuring to conveniently unpack objects provided as an argument into one or more local variables in the function body. In JavaScript, it looks like this. Sum takes an object with ABC. Yeah, that's what that means. It takes in an object that has properties A, B, and C, and then it is able to do this. So instead of like passing in an object, you can basically pattern match that object here. Okay, let's try writing this. So let's say that we have a user object, and it is an object where it has an ID, which is a string, and it has a health, that is a number, and then we have a user, we'll call him Frank, and Frank is a user, where the ID is equal to Frank. It didn't like that. And the health is equal to, that's why, for health is equal to 100. Why is it not happy here? Let Frank, which is a user, equal to. There we go. Syntax is hard. Okay, so now we want to write a function called poison. It takes in a user and it returns their new health, right? This is kind of stupid. You should return the user, but let's just return their health. And so we do user dot health minus 1. And then so we can do console dot log poison. Let's just poison him. Poison Frank. And then we do console dot log new health. Let's try using the this also, you know? We'll get rid of this because we don't want anything clogging our console. Here we go. A run. Undefined. Okay, that's not good. Poison user Frank. Why are we not happy? Errors 1. Number, right. Run. 99. So it did do it, right? But instead of having to do u.health, sounds like we can do id, comma, health. Say this is type user. And now I should just be able to do health minus 1. Maybe I can do this. No. Alright, so it's just an unused variable. ID, health minus 1. But let's do health minus 10. Just to like make sure we know what we're doing. That it's using the new code. Run. 90. So that's cool. We're kind of pattern matching here. Now what I wanted to do is see, can I get rid of ID so that it only matches on certain things? And we'll minus 20 this time. Yep, 80. So this is cool. Like we don't have to match on everything about the user. Almost as good as a real functional language, but not quite. There's nothing here. I don't think I can capture the user by doing like, you know, you or something, right? Like that would be really cool. But it's close. So this is cool. So this is, what are they calling it? Parameter destructuring. So let's, I wanted to try this. So let's figure out if we can figure out this. Which means we should move the poison function into user, right? So we say poison is equal to function Let's try to look up where it was. Function, it just looks like a function, you don't give it a name. Okay, function, you don't give it a name. And then we just do this. Health has implicitly any type. In general, we don't need a thing here because we have a this. Right? I guess I did something wrong. This dot health. Because type of global this has global this. We remember we had that problem. Become admin function colon. Become admin colon function this. I don't understand why this doesn't work. It has no return type in their version. Filter this as a user. I don't think I can do that, right? Like, does this only work in an interface? Oh, shit. What just happened? Declaration or statement expected. Why? Expected. Oh, because I can't actually make the function. I can't define the function in... Oh. I obviously don't understand this well. But I think I'm starting to get it. So, I think we can put this poison in here, but we don't actually define the poison because it's an interface. JS docs. Wait, what? Where did I go wrong? Ay, ay, ay. It was almost happy here. I thought if I got rid of this and did this. Nope. Hey Srikanth, how are you? I'm really struggling because they tried to teach us this thing and obviously I did not learn it. What a pain. Anyway, what I had before was, what were we trying to show here? I'm trying to remember now. Parameter destructuring, right. So I had a poison function. It was like function poison, and it took in a user, and it returned a number, which is their new health. And so it would call, but right, instead of user, we destructured it. All we cared about was the health field, which is, and this was type user. And then we return health minus 20. That worked. And now we poisoned Frank here. We call poison on Frank, and it should return us. Here we'll only take 5 health from Frank. And so this should return us 95 since he has 100 health. Run 95. This is good. Don't know how to use the this thing yet, but we will add this example to our code for parameter destructuring. Yeah, we're doing TypeScript, so it is based on JavaScript, but it's all about types. Parameter destructuring. I'm assuming JavaScript doesn't have this. Destructuring, pattern matching. So there we go. We wrote that. We kind of learned that. Let's see what it says here. I don't think we actually looked at it. They're destructuring an object here, and it adds up the values. So we can call sum on this object. This is like kind of an anonymous object. Object goes after, the type annotation for the object goes after the destructuring syntax. So here is the type, the parameter, and here's the type. So we can say what type it is. I think in my example, I say it's a user type because I built this out. But I could have easily changed this and said ID string comma health number. Without this. And this does the same thing, right? We run this. We still get 95. We're all good. This can look a bit verbose. You can also use a name type here. So they make a type. We actually made an interface, so not only can you use type, but you can use interfaces. Assignability of functions. I think we're at the last subject for this. And we've been at it for an hour and a half. Can you believe it? Like, time just flies. I don't know about you guys. Maybe you feel like, oh, this is the fucking slowest shit I've ever seen. But like, for me, just started. Right? How about for you? Does it feel long? Have you been playing for a while, you feel like? Meh. Sherry, I need some more tea.
You cook it.
Oh well.
Il m'a dit qu'elle avait besoin de thé jeudi. Et puis tu pourras m'en faire un au passage.
You finish your tea also.
Yep. I have my water.
You want to share?
I don't know. You have too much influence.
From Japan. Well, how do you drink this? Oishi. Sugoi.
Rich.
Assignability of functions. Return
Ah.
type void.
Hmm.
Oh, that's what they were telling us earlier. You see up here they said void is not the same as undefined. Can you please let me know what is async? Well, I don't really know what you are asking. Are you asking like what are async and like promises in JavaScript? That's just basically when you make a function call and you don't know when it might like happen, and it might take like a while, like it might be like a REST call or an HTTP request or something like that, or maybe even like get something from the disk. And so you don't want to block execution while while your program's running, right? Let's say that like you have to get like an HTTP page. You're doing your work, your program's running line by line, and then like you want to get this page, so you're like, okay, I can do it inline synchronous, which means you stop your program, you go get it, you wait for the network call to return, whatever, and that may take like seconds or minutes, and then after you get it, you continue. But asynchronous means like, okay, I know I'm going to need this web page, so make the call, and when you're done with it, then like either come back or call this function that I'm giving you, which is like a callback function. So there are a couple of ways of implementing that, and just to make it easier for you to code. And so like async is just a style of doing that. And JavaScript has like promises, so that's a way of coding for async. Um, and there's a lot of details around it once you start using it. So maybe we'll get there, but right now it's not really part of TypeScript itself, I don't think. I think. Oh, well, it's a type. It's actually a type. Promise is a type, so maybe we'll run into it. Um, Mostly I use, for concurrent calls, I've been using Elixir, which has something called the actor model, which is very different. Rust has Toke.io, which has a lot of async calls.
C'est pas mal en vrai.
So yeah. Anyway, let's try to figure out what void is first. Return type void. The void return type for functions can produce some unusual but expected behavior. Well, contextual typing with a return type of void does not force functions to not return something. What? Another way to say this is a contextual function type with a void return type, when implemented, can return any other value, but it will be ignored. Thus, the implementations of type void are valid. So even though it's returning something, this is still okay because um, it's just going to be
C'est
ignored.
une chanson qui est toujours assez culte en karaoké et tout.
So what that means here is like this is
Et, et c'est rigolo
pattern
parce qu'hier
matching.
on allait dans un bar avec ma chorale parce qu'il s'appelle Abricot.
So here we're going to do void type,
Abricot.
void return type for functions, and we're going to make a function.
Et en
They
fait,
made a type. Like,
on va d'ici.
I think I should just be able to do like,
Comment dire
um,
En gros.
yeah, let's just take double.
Ah non.
And
Non, non, non,
double's
c'est pas.
going
C'est
to
juste.
take in a number,
Au bout d'un moment.
and then it's going to return
Enfin, c'est pas moi qui me dis ça. Je
uh,
pense que c'est plutôt lui. C'est lui qui
a
me dit ça.
times 2.
Et en fait, on est dans un bar gay. Enfin,
And we'll say return a times 2, right? So it looks good. And now I can call console.log double 10, right? Actually, let's do this here. Let n equals double 10, and then we're going to print n here just to make it a little bit clearer. And let's get rid of this console log because it'll confuse us. So here we go. So we're passing in double 10, so we should print out 20, right? Okay, it prints out 20. Perfect. It's magic, right? Now, what we're going to do is add a return type in here, void. The fuck? Number is not assignable to void, so it didn't like this. I thought it was going to be fine with it. So let's make a type like they did. Type, we're going to say void function. A void function is basically, I think we can just do this. I think we can write it like this. This is saying it's a function type that takes in no parameters and returns void. So now we can say let double is equal to this function. So now we can call double 10. We'll do double 20 instead. So you see, this takes no parameters. Let's take in a parameter. Okay, we're not using this yet, so don't get confused by this. We're just changing the way this looks. So double is a variable that's pointing to a function, and the function takes in a number and returns the double. So now I can call, just like before, double 20. I run it, and it should say 40, right? Now what I want to do is uncomment this void function, and I want to try to say this is, double is going to be a void function. Let's actually make it capital V just to like keep with the typing of this. So in this case, we notice that like TypeScript doesn't care. It's no longer bothered by the fact that double actually returns something, even though it's supposed to be void. Let's see if it cares if we say like it's supposed to take two variables. Y was not provided. How come it doesn't care here though? Because this should say it's a void function. Oh, const. Maybe it's because we had a const. Type void function equals const function 1 void function. Maybe we have to try const. Nope. Okay, so I don't quite get the confusion here, like why this is a big deal. It's letting us use this. So let's say that this is a number. Maybe it won't let us do this. Yeah, it says n void is not assignable to number. So let's say we just do n is equal to this, and then I do n times 2. This should fail. Yeah, it says this is let n void. So it says this is void, so we can't actually use it. So that's the deal here, is that since this is returning void, you can return stuff. It lets you return stuff, but you can't actually use it. So um, we can't do this. Cannot use the return value from a void function, even though the function is allowed to return a value. So that's the tricky part. Um, yeah. So we will copy this. Does that make sense, everyone? If it doesn't, let me know what part and I will try to explain. I'll just put this in our JavaScript gist here. The link to this should be in the video. Alright, so you can see that at the end here, explaining that you are not able to use this. So we'll skip all this because, oh, there's one other special case to be aware of. When a literal function defined has a void return type, that function must not return anything. We did this first. We started this by doing it this way, and this will give you an error. Yeah, this will return an error. I didn't know that you can use this TS expect error thing. For more on void, please refer to these other documentation entries. All right, well, we're finished. We're finished with functions. Now we have objects to do. Probably we will learn about the this in here. Let me see this. Maybe we won't learn about this. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Yikes, so it's not in classes. I wonder, where do you learn about this? This is probably just like a generic, oh look, constructor. Did we learn about constructors? I thought we did. But we will learn about constructors here. Oh, so look, there's this here in classes. So I guess we'll learn better use of this in classes. So I'll not worry too much, and then we can go back to object types and understand, no, sorry, function types and understand more about this. Like, this is the part we didn't really get, or at least I didn't get. So we've been doing this for about almost 2 hours. The next subject is object types. It's long, so let's not start it. Tuple types is here, which is cool. We'll learn about that. A tuple type is another sort of array type that knows exactly how many elements it contains. I see, so you kind of just like tell it the types that are in it. So you don't do like string, bracket, bracket. You do bracket, string, comma, number. I wonder if there's a way to do it like with the array, you know, like with the angle brackets, but it doesn't look like it. Oh, Not really, that's not it. Alright, I think that's it for today. I'm not sure if we're streaming tomorrow, we'll see. Thanks for joining me and keeping me company. We'll do other things again, like assembly language and all that stuff.
Oh, j'ai chopé la carte 411, je l'avais pas.
So we'll get back to it. Yeah, thanks,
Ouais.
EXO. How's your F sharp stuff going? Are you if you need async, what you really need is a faster CPU. No, that's not like, dude, like you could just have a slow disk drive, right? So misinformation, fake news. I bought an ebook. Which one? I'm tempted to like, but really like, if you know, isn't OCaml better than F sharp, sort of? Can you do a stream? Can you stream on unit test? Yeah, maybe. Oh, the in action series is so good, isn't it? Like, I love the Elixir in action. It's like, I don't know if it's just the author is really good, but it seems like the in action stuff is really good. Unit test with TypeScript, I think we'll get there. We should probably learn that. That makes sense. But I need to finish this first because we're kind of like autistic about it, obsessive compulsive. We got to start from here and we got to get to here. Maybe there's good tutorials here. Oh, look at all this. I really struggled with the OCaml
Non.
standard library. It is really badly documented. I hope I have more luck with F sharp. Yeah, like F sharp, they'll probably have better documentation, right? I heard the guy that was doing F sharp
Mhm.
left, like the main guy, and where did he go?
Qu'est-ce que tu cherches toi déjà comme terme? C'est quoi l'idée?
He went to another language or maybe another group. He went to another group within Microsoft.
Mhm.
I can't remember what it was though. It was something about
Ok, il a pas
performance
fait
or
un petit
something
tour sur
like
le net.
that. Anyway, there you go. Good luck with F sharp. I will talk to you guys later. Have fun, stay warm, and see
Ok,
you soon.
merci.
Bye. Thanks.